Welcome to the implementation overview for the Year 4-5 using visual frames to improve children's confidence and ability to access the 2-3 mark inference questions. How we help you to set up the evaluation. The first thing we ask you to do is identify two similar ability classes. You will then complete the pre-assessment test with both classes. And then the What Work Teachers platform will randomly allocate classes to the intervention or the comparison. The intervention will use this approach for the duration of the trial, and the comparison class will continue as normal. At the end of the evaluation, both classes will complete the post-assessment test, which is the same as the pre. The What Work Teachers platform will then generate an impact report, and if the intervention shows promise, you can then open this up to the comparison class. So let's look at planning from a step-by-step approach. Step 1. Identify two classes to participate in the evaluation from the same year group. Step 2. Read through the Inference Teacher document guidance, suggested session structure, and download the resources. Step 3. Complete the pre-assessment test with both classes, record the marks in the Excel tracker located in the resource folder, and input this into the pre-test on the trial wizard. As you're using class level data, we advise that one teacher reads out the score while the other inputs this into the platform. It will speed up the process. So moving on to step 4, using the trial wizard on the What Work Teachers platform, randomly assign the classes to the intervention or the control group. Step 5, for the intervention group, this teacher will use the impression evidence quote framework in the guided reading sessions. The control will continue with business as usual for the duration of the trial. Then step 6, complete the post-assessment tests with both the intervention and control groups. Record the marks in the Excel tracker and then input the data into the post-test on the trial wizard. You will then complete a short process evaluation and click Analyze to generate the impact report for your school. So the intervention is targeted at Year 4 or Year 5 pupils. The intervention is delivered by a teacher as a whole class activity. Each session will take approximately 20 minutes or to support guided reading throughout the week. In the guided reading sessions, we'll use the visual frame with the children to help structure their responses to inference questions. So this is the impression, evidence, and quote, and you'll find an example of this in the resource folder. The school that has developed this approach has shared their suggested session structure. This is again in the resource folder, which is a 5-minute reading, 5 to 10 minutes guide discussion modelling, 5 minutes model writing answer in the frame, and then 5 minutes independent practice using a second example. You'll also find a tracking spreadsheet which will allow you to link an anonymized student to a student in your class. And then moving on to some key considerations, it is important to consider logistical issues before starting a targeted literacy strategy as an intervention. So is there a suitable time when this can be delivered? In the teaching, is this can be used in your weekly guided reading sessions? Resources, make sure you have the visual template to use in your lessons, and then will you potentially link this to rewards? So logistical barriers are common in any intervention that's delivered in schools, so it's just important to consider these prior to starting. And moving on to the assessment, in the resource folder you will find the assessment task, which is marked out of 15. Please record the score for each learner in the Excel tracker and input this into the What Work Teachers platform. For the post-assessment at the end of the trial, use the same assessment that was used to retest and measure the impact of the intervention. As both groups use the same assessment, familiarity should not bias the results. So please record the score for each learner in the Excel tracker and then input your scores onto the What Work Teachers platform. And then some final guidance: if you can complete the assessment under test conditions, can be delivered by the teacher or teaching assistant. Make sure you print off the assessment tasks and then record your pre and post assessment scores on your tracking spreadsheet. So that's the end of your assessment guidance. The next thing to do now is to download your research protocol, the resource folder, and then move on to your trial wizard.